by a jungle cleave composition. So this is a druid, a hunter, and a shaman or a healer in general. And SPLYCE has that composition available. So if you're Team Method, you've got to be thinking, you know, we just lost to that. Is there anything new we can do? Is there anything we can improve on? Because SPLYCE might just wreck us the same way that we got wrecked earlier. So Method might be pulling out some curveballs, and you can actually see that.
And so that way he tends to get a kill immediately.
Yeah, we can see Smexen and Beanslayer just running in right away, getting onto Absterge, the enemy healer. Let's see how much damage they can dish out. Not too much just yet. Walter and Jellybean seem to be doing a good job. Now finally following it up, Absterge very low on HP, decides to trade out an Ascendance, and he's able to escape, but he gets feared on the escape. He's in a lot of trouble here, barely connecting a heal in time to stabilize his HP. And Method, man, they are smashing SPLYCE right now. Absterge forced to use his first Spirit Link to stabilize, and maybe Method have found the answer to this jungle cleave composition.
Yeah, by the way, just to point out, apparently... Whoa, Absterge getting super low on health there. Just to point out for the viewers at home, apparently the game is refusing to recognize the power of Beanslayer X, so it is just not willing to show us his unit frame at the moment. We apologize for that little bit of a glitch, but hopefully it won't end up being too much of a problem. You can kind of tell just from looking at his unit frame that he was taking a little bit of damage there for just a second, but it looks like the pressure is still heavy onto Absterge right now. He's finally having to pop out with his second Spirit Link, so Method actually doing an amazing job just countering the pressure that the jungle cleave of SPLYCE is usually able to put out with even more pressure.
Beanslayer in a lot of trouble right now, down to 17, down to 4. That's going to be it for Beanslayer. The rallying cry out from Smexen will not be enough to keep their aggressive push going. But, you know, I like the creativity out from Method. What we were doing before just wasn't working. We're probably getting frustrated. It's probably not worth our effort to keep trying to run that same composition. So they're going to try a different one, bring Smexen out on Warrior. They looked really strong in the first seconds of the map, words of 130, 150,000 damage, and you've only got 460,000 health, so half of your health can disappear. Feral Druids as well, with their Ferocious Bite as their hardest hitting ability, that can hit upwards of almost 150,000. So if those hit at the same time,
sometimes you just erase somebody. Yeah,
so
get absolutely deleted. And Beanslayer X has been known for that sort of play in the past. Smexen has been known for that sort of play in the past. So we'll have to see if this comp can, if they can do any better with this comp this time around, as the gates are just now opening and Game 2 is underway.
Yeah, we can see Smexen leading the charge across the tomb. Absterge just bravely running into the middle of the map. He's kind of forfeited his defensive advantage. He's going to get opened on for free by Beanslayer and Smexen. Jellybeans needs to maybe peel a little bit here for his shaman healer. It doesn't look like they're deciding to peel just yet. Shockwave out from Smexen, unfortunately only hitting Jellybeans. We see the Avatar Recklessness. Smexen's looking for an early kill. Is he going to get the crits he needs? He's just bursting Absterge right now. Absterge drops that Spirit Link in the nick of time to save himself, and Sidu actually into a trap, so Beanslayer could be in trouble. Trades out his survival instincts that will reduce a lot of damage, and he's able to keep the chase. Absterge in trouble, pops his Aura Master. There's no way to stop Absterge from healing right now. Great move by him to stabilize, and now Beanslayer's under fire. Vigilance out from Smexen to try and reduce more damage, but even with the Vigilance, he's still just dying. Sidu barely saving him in time, and now they need to keep aggressive. They need to stay on top of Absterge and finish him off. They've got him down below half HP. Caught into another stun, caught into another stun. Execute might connect. Absterge barely getting his Spirit Link off in time, and Method are full smork mode right now, but Beanslayer's gonna lose his life maybe at an expense. The full trap gets trinketed. Sidu barely saves Beanslayer, and suddenly both teams are against the ropes.
Yeah, definitely. It's going well for Method, but it's not going that well for Method right now. The only real saving grace they have is they still have another Spirit Link available, whereas Absterge has none. He does have his trinket, but it's not going to save him from dying if he gets super low. But Beanslayer, once again, down really, really low. That's going to be the second Spirit Link out from Sidu. Sidu now really low as well, maybe vulnerable to a swap, but they're just sticking onto Beanslayer right now. Walter Bear and Absterge just sort of like, Absterge just trying to run away as best as he can. Here comes the big damage once again from Smexen, but Beanslayer is still in so much trouble. He's not going to be able to survive through that just ridiculous pressure and high damage coming out from SPLYCE. And so that game is going to end very similar to how the first one did. And I think at this point we can say, all right, the kitty cleave isn't working.
I mean, it didn't.
Seen some crazy stuff out of these guys in the past, so all of a sudden it just clicks, and just like that, you're able to take those wins. So let's see if we can't get a Spirit Bomb going for Sidu here. See if he can pull something out and take this win.
Yep, pray to the shaman gods. Sidu needs as much help as he can get right now. His team is facing elimination. One more loss, and that's it for Qualifier Cup number 1. CS actually going out onto Jelly. I'm not sure if that was actually intended. Either way, it looks like a double Shadow Fear onto Walter and Jellybeans. A lot of damage onto the Hunter, but Absurge dispelling it immediately, just reducing any potential damage there out from Snuts. And Snuts actually trinketing out of CC. He wants to get pressure. He wants to build early momentum for his team. He's trying to do his best right now, but he doesn't have any dots on Absurge. He really needs to focus on getting those dots now, getting that full row of dots onto Absurge. But unfortunately, Walter peels Beanslayer, so Splyce are splitting up Snuts and Beanslayer. They're never connecting at the same time. And if Method want to be able to take down Absurge, they definitely need to be able to coordinate together.
Yeah, there's a full trap onto Sea-Doo, which could signify some damage coming into Snuts here. Sea-Doo's just going to sit through it. He's feeling fairly comfortable at the time, and it looks like it's going to pay off for him. He did not have to use anything coming out of that. Snuts now is going to use his Dark Regeneration. Could be in some trouble, down to 20% health. Does catch a nice big heal there from Sea-Doo, who has now popped his Ascendance, which is going to allow him to help keep his teammates alive very strongly, and also allow them to get a little bit aggressive here. Looks like they're going after Absurge. No, excuse me, that must have just been a Dispel. Looks like maybe Jellybeans is their target of choice for the time being. They're sort of pinging back and forth, and I think that's important to point out as well. The Feral Lock Shaman, they want exactly what they're seeing right now. All three members of Splyce getting super low. They don't want that though. They do not want Snuts to just up and die. That was a Spirit Link, I believe, coming out from Sea-Doo, keeping him alive, but Snuts still in trouble. Sea-Doo's still caught in that. He had to just barely got out of that and got another Spirit Link off, and so now that's a ton of cooldowns having been used for Method. That is not what they want right now. They really needed to have those available to be able to stay through this game and be able to stay aggressive. Maybe if they can get something happening on Jellybeans here. Absurge caught into that Cyclone means that Jellybeans has to reply with his deterrence. He has one more available. If Method can keep up this pressure, they may be able to make something happen here, but a big heal lands on a Jellybeans, which is going to shut that down, and now Snuts once again is in trouble.
Yeah, Method needs a miracle right now. They've used everything in their defensive arsenal. They're trying to make something happen onto Walter, but not able to accomplish too much. Beanslayer's just going to Cyclone him up, pause his HP at 50%, maybe look for crowd control on Absurge. Nope, deciding to clone him again, but Snuts is in so much trouble. How is he going to stay alive? He's caught into a stun, completely locked down. Sea-Doo unable to assist. Beanslayer unable to assist. Snuts is completely alone, portaling away, trying to get back to Sea-Doo, barely getting out of that crowd control to save him. Walter is under a bit of pressure, trades out his survival instincts that will keep him going aggressive onto Snuts, but Sea-Doo and Snuts have been doing a great job despite having no cooldowns. Now pressure over onto Absurge. Will they be able to get a kill? He's locked down into another stun. They're going to clone him up at low HP. They need more spread pressure. Snuts getting a lot of dots over onto Walter, full dots over onto Jellybeans. They definitely want to make sure that those dots stay up for as long as possible. Full trap on the Sea-Doo. Snuts needs to be careful. There is the Dark Regeneration available. He could pop that to heal himself back up, but it actually doesn't look like Splyce have been able to do any damage. Great peels from Beanslayer have prevented any damage onto Snuts, and now Method are starting to stabilize. They're starting to pull this game back into their favor. Full dots out from Snuts. Maybe they can make something happen.
Yeah, Absurge actually getting really low there for just a second. Those dots are just going like crazy, keeping the entire team of Splyce with that full row of dots on them, just ticking down constantly. It's so difficult to deal with that constant spread pressure. Sea-Doo now caught into this trap. Looks like Snuts is just going to go ahead and port away. He's actually standing next to Absurge, says, you know what, I'm just going to hang out over here by you. It's fine. It's nice over here. I like it. He's keeping that constant pressure rolling, though. Now with that Cyclone onto Jellybeans, I got to say, Beanslayer doing an amazing job in this match, just disrupting every single time Splyce wants to turn around and put on some pressure. Now Absurge, though, caught into that Cyclone. Looks like they're trying to make something happen onto Jellybeans, putting a whole bunch of damage into him, forcing him to back off a little bit. Jellybeans trying to get some traps down, but unfortunately for him, Beanslayer was not falling for it at all, and he's actually just moved away from that entirely. And yeah, Method's actually clawed their way back into this. Now Sea-Doo has his Trinket available. He just now has his Ascendance available. They've actually got to be feeling fairly comfortable at this point.
Beanslayer is just tearing Splyce apart right now. He's got Jellybeans at 30%. He's been pressuring Absurge as well. Finally getting off Absurge, allowing him to get some casted heals out. Now they're trying to build some pressure onto Snuts. They've got CC on Sea-Doo. This is the perfect opportunity. Method need to trade something here. They're trying. Okay, Sea-Doo is going to trade his Trinket. He's not going to play that too greedy. He wants to make sure his team can keep pressure going because Absurge is pretty low on health. Luckily, he's very far away from the fight. Beanslayer's trying to cross, dodges that cap totem. Nice awareness from Beanslayer. He actually gets a re-stealth, so he's going to be able to get an opening stun here. He chooses to stun Jellybeans. Jellybeans Trinkets out. I guess Jellybeans feels like he's going to be able to get a kill here pretty soon. The next trap could be the end of the game. There's the stun onto Sea-Doo, but Jellybeans gets cloned on the follow-up. Beanslayer is carrying this game so hard right now. A full fear over onto Absurge. Snuts is trying to get some damage out onto Walter, it would appear for now, but no pressure just yet. The Haunt finally connecting. That's going to burst up his dots a lot. Here comes the Dark Soul out from Snuts. He's ready to tear Splyce apart. Let's see how much pressure he can really get going here. Sea-Doo caught into a trap with no Trinket, but it's actually Splyce the ones still under pressure. Snuts just needs to get a couple more dots out to get this pressure going a little bit more. Maybe Beanslayer should swap onto Absurge, stop him from getting these casted heals, because right right now Absters is just able to free cast.
Yeah, they've been able to chew through so many different cooldowns, and they've actually managed to claw their way back in. Method has. Absurge now got bashed at super low health. He's going to have to follow that up with a Spirit Link. Snuts is super low. Can Sea-Doo get the Spirit Link out? He does. Sea-Doo gets the Spirit Link out just in the nick of time, and that's going to stabilize Snuts, and now they're going to turn it back around. Jellybeans had to use his last deterrence there. Absurge gets super low. He actually got interrupted on his cast there as well. He's going to be able to recover from that, though, and start getting a little bit more heals out. Jellybeans still maybe in some trouble here, but Snuts also taking just tons of damage. This is so back and forth, it's actually hard to keep up with who's about to die at any given moment in time. The cooldowns are just now coming back up for Absurge. He's going to have his Trinket available. He's got one Spirit Link available. He's got his Stone Form as well. Sea-Doo caught in this full bash. He has nothing to respond to it with. He has literally nothing that he can do about that. He'll have his Trinket in about 10 seconds. If Snuts can stay alive just a little bit longer, he should be in the clear. He's doing his best right now, and the cross CC has just stopped happening, but there's still just so much pressure. There now, Walter Bear caught into a Cyclone. Snuts getting super low. Sea-Doo has his Trinket available again if he needs it. Jellybeans now caught into the Cyclone. Beanslayer doing an amazing job disrupting Splyce, keeping his teammates alive.
Yeah, the pressure that Sea-Doo was under right there was so immense. He had to deal with multiple interrupts to be able to heal Snuts up, but Walter gets a full Cyclone. How is Snuts going to escape the situation? He's almost completely alone. If they can chain any CC on Sea-Doo, he might go down. They don't follow it up, and now Absterge's team is in a lot of trouble. Beanslayer landing the clone. This clone might just win the game. He's got his teammates completely isolated. Snuts is just going to town with so much damage. Absterge struggling to deal with it. He may need to use the Spirit Link, but with his entire team so low HP, it won't even do very much. Walter and Jellybeans might just die at the same time. Snuts is doing so much pressure, but unfortunately, Absterge has slowly recovered. Maybe not. Beanslayer looking for a kill, popping his ultimate incarnation to finish off Absterge, but he's not able to connect. Snuts could go down. He portals away at 5% HP. Sea-Doo has no Spirit Links. Both teams in the most pressure I've ever seen in an arena match. Snuts recovering. Jellybeans barely recovering now as well. Method are fighting for their tournament lives right now. Sea-Doo caught into a stun. Snuts down to 50%, but a full clone once again out from Beanslayer is keeping Snuts alive.
Sea-Doo has his Spirit Link in 3 seconds. If Snuts can just stay alive, he should be able to survive through this. He does not have a Trinket, so he will have to be able to use it ahead of time, but Jellybeans is getting so low, down to 10% health, and Jellybeans is just going to go down. Method is able to turn this around, and that looked super good for them. They are just clawing their way back into this series. We got a series.
We definitely do. I have to say, in that game, man, Beanslayer was the king of peels. King of peels. Snuts was the king of kiting. Like, he was basically untouchable. And Sea-Doo was basically the king of clenching his butt because he had to deal with people getting so low. Able to take victory as a result. Now they need to do that 2 more times in a row if they want to stay in this tournament. Can they do it? SPLYCE, on the other hand, they don't want that to happen. They just want to win and move on and not have to deal with this. So they're obviously going to be trying their best as well. So Jellybeans and Walter, they need to work well together to get crowd control on Sea-Doo. Walter's going to lead in with a stun. Jellybeans will follow that up with a trap. And every time that happens, Snuts should have to use a cooldown. And eventually he's going to run out. So as long as SPLYCE can keep that crowd control chain going every time, every 30 seconds, they're definitely going to be looking strong. Let's see if they can get it done here on Dalaran.
Yeah, nice little just tiny little advantage there on the opener for Method. Beanslayer was actually able to find Walter Bear in stealth and pull him out, so they don't have to deal with too scary of an opener coming out from SPLYCE. And now Sea-Doo caught into this trap. He's just going to be able to sit through that right now. Snuts has his Demon Soul active. He's trying to get as much spread pressure out as he can. Nothing too crazy just yet. SPLYCE doing a good job of just hiding from Snuts right now and actually putting out a whole ton of pressure onto him. He does have his Dark Regen active, but he's getting really low. This could actually be a lot of trouble for him. He needs to get back over to Sea-Doo and get some heals. Sea-Doo now spamming out those healing surges. Actually got interrupted on that last one with that, I believe it was a very short stun onto him. Now that Cyclone, he's going to go ahead and Trinket out of that and use, he's actually used both of his Spirit Links, or is he not? He is running Echo of the Elements, so he's actually used 2 Spirit Links so far already. Sea-Doo is out of Spirit Links in this match.
This is panic time for Method, man. I think they had a little bit of a freak out when Jellybeans knocked their entire team away. They're like, oh no, where are you? I need to link you. I need to link you. Get back to me. And they ended up overusing cooldowns. And with SPLYCE having that huge advantage right now, they should be able to end this game pretty quickly. Method, again, have to pull off a miracle. Let's see if they can do it. Right now, Snuts isn't under the most amount of pressure, but they're trying to push up. Could this end up being a mistake? Beanslayer's trying to take down Abs Absterge knocking him down and trying to just maybe solo him. I don't think he's going to be able to. Maybe he gets a lucky Ferocious White crit. Absterge caught into a 1-second stun. They're trying to kill him. They're actually going to clone him on the Link. And Jellybeans now in trouble down at 18%. Walter trying to peel for his team, but he gets stopped on that Cyclone. So Walter is unable to assist. Absterge is struggling to deal with the damage. And Method might pull off a miracle. Jellybeans down to 14%. Absterge barely saving his team in time. Well done from SPLYCE. And now they need to turn up the aggression and bring the fight to Method.
I actually almost just fell out of my chair as soon as Jellybeans dipped that low and that Cyclone landed on Absterge. That was amazingly played by Method, and that's what they're going to have to keep doing if they want to claw their way back into this match. Sea-Doo now caught into that trap. Is there any follow-up CC onto Sea-Doo at this point? Snuts is taking a lot of pressure. They need to be able to keep that healing flowing onto Snuts. They need Beanslayer to come in with those Cyclones. He gets locked out. Beanslayer got locked out on his Cyclone. He's not going to be able to cast that. Snuts trying to get the Fear. He lands the Fear onto Jellybeans and then onto Walter Bear. Amazing play there by Snuts, able to actually cast both of those. I don't know how he managed to actually get both of those casts off. That's ridiculous, but he's going to stay alive. Sea-Doo now caught into that bash. Snuts going to gateway away immediately in response to that. Sea-Doo's going to get caught into an additional crowd control there. Snuts just going to port right back and say, you know what, I'm going to stay actually, I'm going to hang out with you, Sea-Doo. It's actually much better over here. He's going to get his Dark Soul active, and he's starting to put out that counter pressure again, and SPLYCE is actually running out of options to deal with that. There's only one Spirit Link left available for Absterge. He does have his Trinket, but in that bash, he's taking a ton of damage. The triple Shadow Fury comes out. Can Method find a way to force Absterge to use his remaining cooldowns and then kill the entire team? They're getting him so low at this point. Absterge now having to get over here out of line of sight and cast some heals here, and that's given Method time to stabilize.
Whoa, Walter's overextending a little bit, maybe overstaying his welcome, and Snuts is looking for a triple kill right now. Absterge needs to be careful. If Beanslayer gets a clone, it might be the end of the game. Sea-Doo caught into a trap, but they have no pressure. Snuts is just going to portal away, completely line of sighting SPLYCE. Well played from Snuts, kiting like a god right now, and Jellybeans and Walter are in so much trouble, struggling to stay alive as Absterge is caught into a Cyclone out from Beanslayer, and Method might be able to pull off a miracle right now as long as Snuts can keep dishing out the damage. Absterge trying to get a heal off. He does not want to get interrupted. If he does, his team could just die. He's trying to get out of line of sight, but Beanslayer's keeping the chase going, trying to get right on top of Absterge. Snuts is moving in. Method, it's time to go. Getting right on top of SPLYCE. How much damage can they do? We see Incarnation, Walter Bear activating his ultimate cooldown as well as Beanslayer, but Absterge is the one taking so much damage, forced to use that Spirit Link to connect his team's HP, keeping him alive for now, but for how much?
That was Absterge's last Spirit Link for 30 seconds, and his Trinket as well. Sea-Doo just used his Trinket. He had that available again, and he also has a Spirit Link available. Method has actually got a cooldown advantage at this point. Absterge is in a lot of trouble. He's taking so much damage, down to 20% health, 15% there for just a second. Catches a couple of heals onto himself, but the entire team of SPLYCE is under so much pressure. As soon as Absterge heals one target, another one dips down super low. Jellybeans now down to 30%, or excuse me, 37% health, dipping even lower and lower. He has no deterrence available for another 6 seconds. They might be able to score a kill onto him right here. Snuts with that Dark Soul active is doing so much damage. Jellybeans at 3% health. He gets a heal. The deterrence comes up. He's still alive. 10% health on Jellybeans. The Spirit Link comes out from Sea-Doo, keeping his team alive, keeping them aggressive. Somehow, Absterge SPLYCE is still alive. I don't know how he's keeping his team alive right now. Absterge at 11% health. Their entire team is at death's door, just knocking away. Snuts gets Cyclone. That's the only one saving grace going for SPLYCE right now. Method is just on a rampage.
Oh my god, Absterge is literally a god. What? He just brought that game back from the brink of destruction. Everyone was at 10% HP, and he still hung in to the bitter end, and he's managed to recover his team. Now, if they can rotate some CC on Sea-Doo, they might be able to kill Snuts. Here comes the full trap on the Sea-Doo. Snuts needs to be able to evacuate. Unfortunately, he's got nowhere to run. He's going to jump off, portal back up, try his best to line of sight the incoming damage, but Sea-Doo is still in crowd control. Sea-Doo has no cooldowns remaining. He gets knocked away by Sea-Doo. Snuts is trying to stay alive. Sea-Doo connecting a little bit of healing right here. Good peels from Beanslayer. Once again, Beanslayer with these Cyclones, keeping Snuts alive to keep it in this match, and now we're kind of stabilizing at this point. It's really SPLYCE that need to push in. Walter is going to jump in on top of Snuts. He's looking for a clone, not able to connect it, unfortunately. Snuts doing a good job. Full dots onto Walter, full dots over onto Jellybeans with the full trap on the Sea-Doo with no trigger for 10 seconds. 10 more seconds. He just needs 8 more seconds. How is Snuts going to stay alive?
I have no idea. This game is absolutely ridiculous. Snuts is somehow still alive. He gets back over to Sea-Doo. Sea-Doo comes out, but not in time. Snuts is gonna go down. That was an absolutely ridiculous back and forth game. SPLYCE, I feel, barely actually managed to take that, but they do take it 3-1 versus Method. Method is going to be eliminated, and SPLYCE is going to move on to face, I don't even remember, it was so long ago at this point, the other team that they're going to have to fight. What was this series?
I need
that
a
was
moment.
crazy. Oh
need a
my
moment.
god. Yeah, they're going to be going up. SPLYCE will be moving on to face Northern Gaming.